Hello everybody, I'm back with another video here. So this is going to be a very similar wallet to the one that we created previously in the last video, but we're going to make it a little bit more thin, and then we're also going to round the corners, and we're not going to stitch all the way up to the top. So then these little flaps up here should make it easier to grab cards. You can kind of bend them out of the way and it just looks cleaner. Having those curves looks really nice. So I already have a square 90-degree edge here. So all we have to do is cut our pattern out. So we're just using that setter, throw down our ruler and cut, and now we have the width. And here we'll get the length. So now that we have our base piece ready to go, I'm going to start off by lining the pattern back up on here. So we'll use this square setter. So now I have down here, I'll move up a little bit. This is where we're going to hit our arc punch. So I'll just use my scratch awl. Scratch that, and then we'll get our holes up here too while we're lined up. This is where we're going to punch and then cut that line straight through. So those are there. We can get rid of this so we no longer need our pattern. We also do not need the setter or bump jig. So we're just going to use our arc jig and we'll hit this down straight through. Got that. I think right away here we'll get this a little more rounded so it looks cleaner. Okay, get our other side. Now we're going to grab our hole punch, knock those two holes through. There's one. And then we're going to cut our line straight through for our card slot. You probably have to come back through here, just so we don't want to cut all the way through that hole. Okay, so now from here, we're just going to go ahead and, we don't need to do really any sanding. It's going to be pretty clean as it is. So we'll grab my 0+ edge beveler. It's really all we need here. These are going to get beveled later. We'll probably do just the tops a little bit. So those are cleaned up since they're going to, oh, I guess we're missing something here. So actually, we're going to use our corner knife and we're going to round these edges all the way around. And honestly, the easiest way for me to do this is after we get everything glued, I'll go like this up here, and then to make sure that we're symmetrical, I'm just going to use that corner knife again and then just go straight down on those edges. So then I know that these are going to line up with the other side perfectly. So we'll hold that off to the side for now. I'm going to do a little bit of edge work here with our Palo Santo edge beveler. We're going to go down a little bit more, just a little bit, so that's cleaned up. We don't really need to do this at this point. I'll go down a little bit though, just so we're nice and clean when we need to get there. especially on the inside because those will be hard to get to. And then we can do the tops as well, which are partially going to be cut off. And then we'll do the back side of these as well. We're going to clean this off here. And then easiest way to get into something like this is to just take another piece of leather that's the same weight or thickness. So what I'm going to do is I'll just throw this under here so this part's raised. So now this will make it a whole lot easier to bevel my edge. We can do this on all sides. And we'll flip her around. Trying to keep some pressure here since the leather is so soft. It likes to pull a little bit when you're going along. All right, and then from here, I'm not going to do any talking. I'll just speed this up a little bit because really all we're going to do is our edges. So yeah, let's get to it. All right, so now that we have that out of the way, I'm going to fold this up so we can get an idea of where we're going to be for some gluing. So that's pretty close there. I'm going to knock this down a little bit, and then I'm actually going to take a little bit of leather out of there just so we get a better hold. So I'm just going to take a little skiver, try to skive out some of that. And then there won't be like a little bulb at the end. Okay, so that should be good there. Now we got to figure out where we want to stop for when we're doing our stitch line. So obviously we're going to want to be a little bit higher than this. I think, I'm trying to think of how we want to do this. I think I'm going to go butt this up against the edge and then go here. So then basically I'm just going to put a little mark with my awl, and that's roughly where I want to stop for when I'm punching. Which I probably should have done this on the other side, but I'm going to transfer that over now actually, just so I know where I need to stop. Let's do a light little line so we can get rid of it easily. Okay, so that's where we're going to end. We're probably going to go just over that line, but what we need to do first is glue. But now this gives us a good idea on where we need to stop here for our glue as well. So I guess doing it on the wrong side technically worked out. So let's get this stuff out of the way. And then for glue, I just use Siwa Leathercraft leather adhesive. And then I have some cheap glue spreaders from Rocky Mountain Leather. So we're not going to try to put too terribly much on here, especially close to the card slot, which either way we can break it up later if some does get in that area. But obviously, if we can, we want to prevent that from happening just to make things easier. And I'm only going to apply glue to one side. With stuff like this, I've never really had any issues with only doing one side. So I don't really see a need to like go both sides, let part of it dry, which may be the more correct way to do it, but I haven't had any issues that would cause me to change the way that I glue. And it's just less glue. I don't have to use as much, and I always get a nice strong hold. A little close there, but that'll be fine. Can also spread a little bit back away. All right, so now that we have our glue down, get this closed up. If I can close it, I always have issues closing this container. Then we're going to try to line this up as best as we can. Come down a little bit. So that should be good there. And I'm going to hammer down the edges just to help with that adhesion. And then for something like this, you're going to need pressure. It's not just going to stick because the wallet's going to want to get a little bulb going. So that's where I just use some binder clips. It probably would be better if I was to put leather around them, but with how soft this leather is, it's kind of, I can like rub my finger on it. The oils will come up from the leather and then it's really not an issue, which is one of the reasons I like working with it. It's very pliable, very durable. It's soft. Patinas really nicely. And then also it's made in the USA. So that's one of the main reasons that I prefer to use this. Obviously there's other tanneries in the US, but Horween is also close to where I am out of Chicago, and I'm from Wisconsin. So right now we're just gonna let this dry probably like 10-15 minutes, and then when we come back, I'm gonna get these edges rounded on the back side that we left straight, and then do some slight edge finishing before we start doing our stitch lines and then punching our holes. So we'll be back shortly. All right, next step here, we're gonna go ahead and take care of these corners. I'm gonna try to get as close as I can there. This might be a little more difficult. I'm gonna need to clean that up for sure. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do here is just give this a slight little curve that way. I think that's probably our best bet here. Okay, so that should be fine. So, whoops. Now that that's taken care of, we're gonna go ahead and clean up these edges a little bit. And then we'll have a nice flat edge here to use our wing divider and then punch some holes. So what I think I'm going to start off with here, since we don't have a whole lot to take off, I mean a little bit of glue and we're pretty close on everything, I'm just going to go ahead and use, I think this is 600 for my Dremel. Okay, now that we used our Dremel, we'll go in there with, I think this is 1500 sandpaper just on a sanding block. So to clean this up, get it nice and smooth for when we burnish. We're not going to do any burnishing yet. That'll be closer to the end. And with these, it doesn't need to be crazy. Like you honestly probably don't even need to hit 1500. Sometimes I'll hit at lower grits and kind of work my way up, but sometimes if I'm already pretty, like this is already getting a really nice edge on it, sometimes I might need to go back down if I feel like I didn't take enough off or get it knocked down enough. But this is working out fine right now. And it's easy with the Dremel because, I mean, the thing that really takes the longest is when you're trying to knock down an edge, or like if you're glued off a little bit, you kind of have to take a decent amount off. Sometimes it's like just enough to where you don't want to use a knife on it. But then it just, I don't know, it's Dremels make it easier, and they're really inexpensive, really speeds it up, especially with how much time I used to spend on sanding, hand sanding. Okay, so I think we're about ready to go here. So that should be good. Let's get some of this off of the table. So now we'll grab our wing divider, and I do want to punch through this side because it's front, the front. So I'm gonna kind of look back here. So about right there is where I want to start. And then just for ease, I'm gonna go through that side. So there's that. And then this side, it looks like we're about here. I think I'm actually gonna put a little line this way just so I know where it's at. It's a little hard to see. Just get a light little line through there. Okay, so those look pretty close. Obviously I can fix it depending on where the punch is sitting to make it look a little better. So at this point, we'll get probably, we'll do that, we'll do a 4 and then a 1. And we're gonna start up top here. Let's see how we're lining up here. All right, so that's about perfect. So I wanna get up pretty close to that edge. We'll line it up, we'll knock it a little, see where we're at here. So we might want to do another one there. We'll see where we line up on this side. Okay, so we're about in the same spot. I'm not sure. I don't think we necessarily need to go down again because we're already so close. So I'm gonna go ahead and punch these all the way through now. Okay, we're all the way through, and we did miss the hole on the back, so that's good. We shouldn't hit them. Okay, lines are straight on the front. Lines are also straight on the back. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna stitch. I'm gonna start on this side for both. So we're gonna end up going through on this side and burning the thread, and then that thread's gonna end up being burned on this side because we're gonna go back this way. And then up top here, we're gonna go around the edge and it'll look nice. And then it gives you a nice tight stopping point. So these aren't gonna wanna pull down too much. So yeah, let's do it. All right, so we only have a few things left to do here. We already went through, obviously, and we sanded edges. So I'm going to now take off that excess with our edge bevelers, which one of the main reasons that we do that top part first, I mean, we can still take a little more off probably, but it's because now that it's being covered, obviously we can't get to it. So let's get these out of here. And then up top, since we cleaned those up a little bit, we can hit those. Okay, so really all that we have left is I'm going to put my logo down here in the bottom right of the wallet, which we'll do now. I got to hit it pretty hard. So I'm going to try to line that up so it's parallel with the end of the wallet. All right, there it is. So let's get to finishing some edges. All right, so now that we're finished with our wallet, we can open these up here, make it easier to slide cards out. Obviously, that's what this little divot's for. We have our easy access card slot in the back, so that one will just sit out there. You just grab it nice and easy. So it's really simple. It doesn't fit a whole ton of stuff. I normally put my most used credit card here, necessities in here, and then towards the front, I'll put some cash if I'm carrying cash. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you like this wallet. I'll see you in the next one.